Stop scrolling. This message is not an accident. You didn't just find this, you were led here because something is shifting in your life right now. And deep down, you can feel it. You've been through seasons that tried to break you, nights where you questioned your worth, moments where you almost gave up on yourself. You smiled in public, but cried in silence. You stayed strong when no one noticed. But hear this clearly, everything you survived was preparing you for what's coming next. Wait, don't brush that off. Something inside you paused for a reason. Out of everything you could be doing, something pulled your attention right here, right now. That subtle feeling, that quiet nudge you can't fully explain, that's not random, but here's the truth. Most people are trained to ignore these moments. They call it just timing, just luck, or just another video. And in doing that, they miss the very signals that could change their life. Because shifts don't usually arrive with loud announcements. They come quietly, gently, almost invisibly. And if you're not paying attention, you'll walk right past the very thing you've been praying for. This is where everything shifts. Right before something significant happens in your life, there's often a strange tension. You might feel restless, unsatisfied, like something isn't quite right anymore. Even if everything looks fine on the outside, you start questioning things you used to accept. You feel disconnected from spaces you once fit into. Your spirit feels unsettled and is confusing because part of you wonders, why do I feel like this when nothing is technically wrong? But here's what most people miss. That discomfort isn't a problem. It's a signal. It's the internal shift happening before the external one appears. It's your mind and spirit preparing you to move, to grow, to step into something unfamiliar. But because it doesn't come with clear instructions, it feels like uncertainty, and uncertainty feels scary. So what do most people do? They retreat. They don't go back to what's comfortable. They silence that inner voice. They distract themselves until the feeling fades. And just like that, the moment passes, but not you. Something in you didn't scroll past. Something in you chose to stay. And that matters more than you realize. Because moments like this are often the beginning of a new chapter, but they don't look like beginnings. They look like confusion, like waiting, like nothing is happening. But something is happening behind the scenes. Patterns are shifting. Thoughts are realigning. Your perspective is being quietly transformed. And soon, your external world will have no choice but to follow. You just can't see it yet. But imagine this: a few weeks from now, something clicks, a door opens, a conversation happens, an opportunity appears, something you didn't expect but somehow feels exactly right. And in that moment, you'll think back to this feeling, this pause, this exact moment, and it will make sense. That's how shifts work. They don't announce themselves, they prepare you first. So if you're feeling something right now, if there's a quiet sense that something is changing, don't ignore it, lean into it, because this isn't coincidence. This is the moment before everything begins to move. Let me ask you something. What if the hardest moments of your life were never designed to destroy you, but to prepare you? Not punish you, not weaken you, not end you, prepare you. But here's the truth. When you're in the middle of pain, it never feels like preparation. It feels like loss, like confusion, like everything is falling apart at the worst possible time. You don't see purpose, you feel pressure. You don't see growth, you feel exhaustion. And in those moments, your mind starts asking dangerous questions. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Why does it keep happening? And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to believe that maybe the pain is the end of your story. But this is where everything shifts, because pain has a strange way of disguising itself. It doesn't show up labeled as training. It shows up as heartbreak, as rejection, as delays, as silence when you expected answers. And if you're not careful, you'll misinterpret the very thing that's building you. Most people miss this part. Every challenge you faced forced you to develop something you didn't have before that betrayal. It taught you discernment, that failure. It built resilience, that season of being overlooked. It strengthened your independence. You didn't just go through it. You were being equipped through it. But because growth is uncomfortable, we often resist it. We try to escape it. We pray for the pain to end, but never stop to ask what it's trying to produce in us. And that's where many people stay stuck. They carry the pain, but miss the transformation, not because they're weak, but because no one told them this. Pain is not proof that you're losing. It's often proof that you're being upgraded. Think about it. The version of you from a few years ago couldn't handle what you're carrying today. Your mindset was different. Your strength was different. Your boundaries were different. But now, you see things clearer. You tolerate less. You recover faster. You understand deeper. That didn't happen by accident. That came from everything you thought would break you. Now, here's the part most people don't realize until later. The same strength you built in pain will become the very thing that unlocks your next level. The discipline you learned in hard times will create consistency. The emotional control you developed will bring peace. The wisdom you gained will guide your decisions. And suddenly, doors that once felt impossible start opening, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. So when the next challenge comes, and it will, don't immediately assume it's here to stop you. Pause, look deeper, because it might not be there to break you. It might be there to introduce you to the version of yourself that's ready for more. And one day, sooner than you think, you'll look back at everything you survived, and instead of asking, why did this happen to me? You'll finally understand, this is what prepared me for everything that's coming. Pause for a second. What if the frustration you're feeling isn't a setback, but a setup? What if this confusing, uncomfortable, exhausting season you're in is actually a test, and not the kind you fail by struggling, but the kind you pass by becoming? But here's the truth. Tests never feel like opportunities when you're inside them. They feel like pressure, like delay, like silence when you expected movement. You keep doing the right things, but nothing seems to change. You stay patient, but time keeps stretching. You hold on, but everything around you feels uncertain. And that's the part that gets to you, because you start thinking, if I'm on the right path, why does it feel this hard? This is where everything shifts, because the test isn't about what you're going through. It's about who you're becoming while you go through it. It's measuring your patience when things don't go your way, your discipline when no one is watching, your belief when there's no evidence yet. And here's what most people miss. The test often comes disguised as normal life. It doesn't announce itself with a warning sign. It shows up as that moment when you feel like giving up, but choose to keep going anyway. It shows up when you're tempted to settle, but something inside you says, wait. It shows up when you're tired of waiting, but you don't quit. And in those small, quiet decisions, that's where the real test is happening. But here's the deeper part. Tests reveal what's still unprepared within you, not to shame you, but to strengthen you. Because elevation requires a version of you that can handle what you're asking for. Think about it. What if you received everything you wanted right now, but didn't have the mindset to sustain it? What if the opportunity came, but your discipline wasn't ready? What if the relationship appeared, but your boundaries weren't strong enough? That's why the test exists, not to delay you, but to develop you. And yes, it's uncomfortable, because growth always stretches you beyond what feels easy. It forces you to face parts of yourself you'd rather avoid. It challenges your habits, your thinking, your reactions, and in those moments it feels like everything is against you, but it's not. It's aligning you. Now imagine this. A time is coming where things begin to fall into place. Opportunities start showing up. Doors open that once felt locked, and you step into them, not with fear, not with doubt, but with confidence, clarity, and control. Why? Because you've already been tested. You've already proven to yourself that you can handle pressure, uncertainty, and waiting without breaking. That's what qualifies you. So if you're in a season where nothing makes sense, where everything feels slow, where you're being pushed in ways you didn't expect, don't rush to escape it. Lean into it. Because this isn't random. This isn't punishment. This is preparations. And whether you realize it or not, you're not being held back. You're being built up for what's next. Let that sink in for a second. What if the breakthrough you've been waiting for isn't something you have to chase, but something that's already on its way to you? Not by chance, not by coincidence, but by alignment. But here's the truth. Most people spend their lives believing everything is about luck, being in the right place at the right time, knowing the right people, catching the right opportunity. And when things don't happen, they assume, maybe it's just not meant for me. But that belief keeps them stuck, because this is where everything shifts. The most powerful changes in your life don't happen when you chase harder. They happen when you align better. Alignment isn't about force. It's about becoming. Becoming the person who can recognize the opportunity. Becoming the person who can sustain the blessing. Becoming the person who doesn't sabotage what they once prayed for. And that process, it's already happening inside you. Most people miss this part. While you've been waiting for things to change externally, something deeper has been shifting internally. Your standards have changed. Your mindset has matured. Your tolerance for what drains you has decreased. You're not the same person you were before. And that's not random. That's alignment. Because what's meant for you can only connect with the version of you that's ready for it. Not the old you. Not the doubting you. Not the version of you that settles or second guesses everything. The aligned you. And here's where it gets even deeper. Alignment doesn't always feel like progress. Sometimes it feels like loss, like things falling apart, like people drifting away, like doors closing without explanation. And in those moments, it's easy to panic. It's easy to think, why is everything going wrong when I'm trying so hard? But what if it's not going wrong? What if it's clearing space? Because you can't receive what's next if you're still holding on to what no longer fits. And that release, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Now imagine this. Soon, something shifts. A connection appears. An idea clicks. A door opens. And this time it feels different. It feels natural, effortless, right? Not forced, not confusing, not draining. And for a moment you might think, wow, I got lucky. But deep down you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck. It was everything you went through, aligning you to this moment. Every delay that taught you patience. Every disappointment that refined your standards. Every quiet season that built your clarity. It was all positioning you. And now, things are starting to meet you where you are. So if it feels like things are shifting even subtly, if it feels like you're outgrowing what once felt normal, if it feels like something is being rearranged behind the scenes, don't resist it. Because what's coming doesn't need to be chased. It needs to be matched. And step by step, thought by thought, decision by decision, you're becoming the version of yourself that it's already moving toward. So now you see it. This moment wasn't random. That pull you felt wasn't nothing. The pain you carried wasn't wasted. And the pressure you're under right now, it's not here to stop you. It's shaping you. Everything connects. The discomfort was the signal. The pain was the training. The test is the preparation. And what's coming is alignment meeting the version of you who's finally ready. But here's the part that changes everything. Nothing outside of you shifts until something inside of you decides it's time. And right now, that decision is yours. You can go back to doubting yourself. You can ignore the feeling and stay where it's familiar. Or you can step into this moment with awareness and realize that your life is already in motion, even if you can't fully see it yet. Because one day soon, things will start to make sense. The delay will feel like direction. The silence will feel like protection. The struggle will feel like preparation, and you won't question it anymore. You'll recognize it. So listen to this again, because the second time it will hit differently. Now you understand, but only a few will actually move differently after hearing this. And when everything begins to align, when the doors open, when the right people show up, when your life starts to shift in ways you once only imagined, you won't call it luck. You'll know. This was the moment you stopped waiting and started becoming.